Hi, welcome to my segment of I Love My Thrifty Flips. I'm Billie with Made by You. I want to thank Kristin from The Fifth Sparrow No More and Stephanie from The House of Fritz for hosting this playlist and collaboration. What I do when I want to go thrift, but I don't want to people, I go to the Whatnot app. I find a lot of my thrifty finds on Whatnot. I like vintage textiles. I can find deals if the items are stained and I need to soak them. I don't mind because I get good deals. I can buy things as low as $2. A lot of people have their shipping maxed at $9. So I just add to cart, but shop responsibly, okay? Let me show you a few things that I found and I'm going to flip. Oh, this was pretty. Look, it's hand knotted. It's French knots. I don't like the lace, but maybe we could do something with it. Here is a quilted table runner. I'm going to flip that. Look at this piece of needlework. It is stained up, but look, it's a seashell and it's neutral and it is going to be perfect. We're going to do something with this. Also bid on some beautiful pieces of cross stitch. Here's one of them. Look how pretty that is. Here's another piece. This is the back. You can see the knots where they tied it off. How pretty. It's gorgeous. So stay tuned and let's do a couple of flips. After I took down my Christmas decor, my shelves looked barren and it was too early for spring. Let's make a few little stuffies to place around for instant Valentine decor. If you're like me, anytime I put out fresh decor, it just makes me smile. I love to look at it. And do what makes you happy, right? As long as it doesn't hurt anyone else. And since when do a few puffy hearts hurt anyone? I started with this vintage quilted table runner I got at my favorite thrifting spot, Whatnot. And I just traced them out with 2 wooden hearts, just like I've done before. And now I'm going to cut them out with my Guggenheim shears. These are heavy duty, and I haven't found anything that they don't cut through like butter. I also cut a few out of red toile, and now let's take them to the sewing machine and stitch them together. I did stitch a few embellishments on a couple of them, and then I stitched them together, leaving an opening for stuffing. And once I had all that done, had them trimmed up, let's get to stuffing. And we're going to stuff them just till they're full enough. We're not going to have them too poofy. Now, how I like to do it, I pull my stuffing apart to make it real fluffy, and then I stuff little pieces in till I get the fullness that I like. And once you're satisfied, you can stitch it shut. Now, you don't need a sewing machine for this project. You can just hot glue the pieces together, and you have the cutest little hearts ever. Easy peasy. This is such an easy project, and it makes such a big difference. These little stuffies, you can add them to a shelf as a shelf sitter. You can put them in a bowl, like a dough bowl, and it could be a bowl filler. You could just place them here and there in vignettes that you already have, and it's instant Valentine decor. And here's a few examples of how I used it in my decor. This one's an easy fix. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't like that bottom lace. It's just a little bit too much lace for me. But if you like it, go for it. Back in the early 90s, this was all the rage. I remember having lace items everywhere in my living room. On my mantle, I had homemade lace picture frames. And of course, the needlepoint. These French knots are beautiful. I'm just going to simply cut that bottom lace off. And to me, it's a whole new pillow. It's something that I can use for my bed or just simply put it on a shelf. As a crafter and sustainable sewer, I don't throw anything away. I'm going to save this vintage lace for another project. I'm satisfied with how this pillow turned out. It is so pretty. The handmade French knots are everything. Now let's just simply put it on my shelf. I had a hole in the shelf and it fit perfect. You could also put it in a basket with blankets or on your bed. I'm happy with it, and I'm glad I purchased it. Are y'all having fun? I'm having fun. Please continue to watch my Thrifty Flips playlist. And I want to again thank Kristin from the Fifth Sparrow No More and Stephanie from the House of Fritz for hosting this playlist and collaboration. Do you remember this piece of art? It's a concha shell embroidered on a neutral fabric. So it's monochromatic. It's very neutral. It's kind of hard to see. Really not sure what I wanted to do with it. So I decided to just simply put it in a frame. I didn't want to cut it or damage it. And then if I do decide to do something else with it, I can just remove it from the frame. Found this plastic frame from the Dollar Tree, and we are going to remake the frame and then put this thrifted item in the frame. The paint I'm using is Folk Art in Real Brown. I'm going to have to paint 2 coats on it. And I'm going to paint the first coat light. And once it's dry, I'm going to come back with another coat. Now, you got to kind of push that paint in all the grooves because this is a very ornate frame. I'm painting the sides and the inner part of the frame, trying to cover up all that gold. And then I'm going to dry it with my heat dryer and put a second coat. Once that second coat is dry, you can see how rich that brown is. It's beautiful. Now I got my all natural stain. This is by Dixie Belle. I'm going to brush it on the frame, and it's going to go into all the crevices, all the nooks and crannies, and then I'm going to wipe it back. It's going to cut some of that brown, and it's going to make the design pop. It's going to be beautiful. I forgot to film it, so this is me just showing you how it's done. Isn't that gorgeous? It gives the frame a whole different look and feel, and I think it's going to be perfect for this hand-embroidered seashell. And then the last thing I'm going to do is get some gilding wax. Now this is in bronze, which is really a brown with the little gold specks in it. And I'm just going to wipe it across using my finger, and it's going to grab on that paint and all the design, and it's going to even make it pop more. This paint was matte, and so it was kind of flat. And this gilding wax, bronze gilding wax, is going to give it a beautiful sheen. Just the look I was wanting. What do you think? I told you it was going to be beautiful. Takes it to a whole nother level. Now let's reassemble this frame, laying the embroidery piece on top of the cardboard and just snapping it all back together. I think it turned out simply gorgeous. It would be perfect now. Anytime. This is like an evergreen piece, but it also will be perfect summer decor for that beach house vibe. Who's not ready for that? I found this tattered and torn cutter quilt while thrifting. Let's give it an upcycle. We all need a second chance. Hi, I'm Billie with Made by You. I started by placing a heart pattern on 4 different squares that I liked, and I cut them out. And now I'm deciding on what side of the heart I like. Look, if you peel it back, you can see that it looks like an old quilt was used as the stuffing of this new quilt that they made. It is so interesting, the history in these quilts. Came up with 4 different patterns, and now let's take them over to the sewing machine. And I'm going to stitch all around the heart and leave the bottom open. My idea with this project is to make hearts on a stick. Just like I made the trees with the spindles, we're going to do the same with the hearts and see how they come out. A quilted heart topiary. Sounds good to me. Now let's stuff it. I'm having way too much fun. And once I have my fiberfill fluffed up, I'm going to stuff each heart, making sure that I get into the point of the heart and distribute the stuffing evenly. Once all 4 are stuffed, it's time for the spindles. I picked out 2 spools and 2 spindles. The 2 spindles I put into a candlestick holders. One is brass and one is glass, and they came out really good. Once I had a good fit, I made sure it was all glued in. I embellished with ribbon, hearts, and keys. I hope you enjoyed this project. I had fun making it. If you noticed, I have one side that's more colorful and one side that's neutral. They are double-sided and will fit into anyone's home decor and would be a perfect gift. Locals can find them at Carlisle's on Carbon. Thanks for watching. Happy upcycling. If you're enjoying my videos, subscribe to the channel and remember, follow me on my other socials linked in the description.
Y'all know where the good yard sales are? Let me know. Honey, I'll tell you what I need. I need a Saturday, $100 cash in a good yard sale. You know what I'm saying? And not that I need anything, because I don't. I've got so much junk, it's awful.
I think I just might have saved the best for last. This thrifted hand cross-stitched tablecloth is going to make the perfect bunnies. It had a few stains that wouldn't come out even after I soaked it. So we're going to upcycle this beautiful tablecloth. Give it a second life and save it from the landfill. I pinned it on my flowered, placed them as I wanted, cut it out, and now this material was also thrifted by Maddie Mulberry's cute little new thrifting spot I found. I think this material is probably 3 yards and I got it for like $1 a yard. Great deal. So I cut that out. Once I remove all the pins, she'll be ready for the sewing machine. And excuse that phone holder that is on the left side of the screen. I didn't realize you could see it. I am stitching them wrong sides together because I'm not going to turn it inside out. There's going to be a seam along the edges. I like that look. It seems to be popular right now. It's a more distressed look, perfect to use with vintage textiles. And I'm going to stitch it 1/4 inch all the way around. The bottom layer of fabric, I did cut a little bigger so it would stick out because I think I can get it to fray. And I think that would be a good look. So now that I have it stuffed together, I did leave the bottom open. It's so cute. I'm going to start filling it with my polyfill. Now I pull my polyfill in little sections and I pull it apart to make it fluffy. I'm going to use a dowel rod and let it be my helper to get all the way to the ears. The ear is kind of a tight fit. So using the dowel rod and helping push the polyfill all the way up into the ears, because we want it nice and fluffy. So now I'm filling and see if I think I have enough polyfill. And when you think yours is full enough, now you just take it back to the machine and stitch it shut. Cut all the threads and look how cute. Now I'm going to trim, like I said, the bottom I cut bigger. So whatever I think is sticking out too much, I'm going to go ahead and give it a quick trim. Just trim off however much you like. And look, the cutest little bunny ever. I call these stuffies. You can use them as bowl fillers. You can use it as a shelf sitter. Just put it in a basket. So versatile. And look how cute. I added a rusty pin with a bell and a bow. She is so fancy now. She's fancy enough to put her on the mantle. You can put her on a shelf. But she was a little lonely. So I made another one. This time I put more flowers on her. And so I didn't have to do any kind of embellishments. I placed her on the fabric to where it was more covered with flowers. Can't you see all the flowers? Isn't it gorgeous? And it looks perfect. They look perfect as a pair. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. I have my other socials linked in the description, so please follow me there. Also, I'd love to have you.
I don't really like going to the Goodwill or going thrifting, honey. I love the good yard sale, honey. Goodwill's got hiring a cat's back. You can't afford it. You can't afford it. You can't afford Goodwill. And not that I need anything, because I don't. I've got so much junk, it's awful. But there is just, you just get something when you find a treasure. When you're just out at a yard sale and something's speaking to you. I love a yard sale. And the people you meet, they're the best ones. They're the best ones. Or a good estate sale. Now, it's bad because somebody died, but, you can find some good stuff at an estate sale. But they've also got high. But I need a good Saturday and a yard sale and a crispy Coke Zero from Sonic with a little bit of cherry flavor in it.
I hope you had fun so far. Go to the playlist and continue to watch all the amazing flips.